Welcome back, everybody, to another Nell Primo vlog, okay? If you're new here, which we all are, honey, because this is literally my second vlog, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Share this with another nail tech if you're a nail tech, okay? If you're a friend of a nail tech, if you know a nail tech, share it, please, and thank you. So, the thing about my vlogs is I'm not really doing a whole bunch of chronological order. I'm just going in the order in which I feel like it. I mean, I'm really trying to stay on some sort of scheme, but I have so many videos. I've literally been recording my life for the past 4 to 6 years, and I'm finally just getting everything out there, okay? I have been spending my entire year releasing fearful beliefs, fearful ideas, fearful habits. I've been releasing them, okay? And I'm finally just putting my vlogs out there. Sometimes I was feeling scared and vulnerable to like share my life as a single mom because people are judgmental, and I like to think that I'm not scared or worried or afraid of those things, but in reality, I think we all consider negativity, right? We're at least going to consider it. We're at least going to be like, oh, this person said that. And sometimes we might take a little more account of it and note of it than we need to. So I'm over that. Okay. And here we are. This is about a year or more ago. I had just moved out of my studio in the downtown area, costing me $2,000 a month, not including a $200 parking pass every month, to a much smaller studio right down the street from my house where I just moved. And as you can see, my daughter, first of all, shout out to her. She's my road dog. She's amazing. She's so helpful and special and helps to keep things fun, even though I'm a stick in the mud a lot of the time. And I realize, like, moms aren't sticks in the mud just because, right? It's because we're overstimulated. It's because we're overworked and sometimes underpaid. It's because we're tired, right? It's because we need help and support in ways in which we're not getting it. So that's neither here nor there. But I woke up really early. It's probably like 6 a.m. And I'm packing up all of my items into my car so I can take it over to the studio, and Farah is helping me. One thing I really want to talk about today is being a solo entrepreneur. And this means I'm literally the only person that works here. I'm the only person that works at Nail Primo. We have been in business for, next year will be 10 years, to some capacity. I've been servicing consistently on my own for the last 6 years, and 2 years for other companies prior, and then 1 year on my own, just at home practicing, offering nail services where I can. So here we are doing it all ourselves. Early on in my career, I used to sacrifice so much time as a mother, in a relationship at that time. And, my partner really let me, because he was kind of just like stay-at-home dad. And there are so many other words we could use. Excuse me. But that's the best one. Stay-at-home dad, just allowing me to work my ass off in order to carry our family on our backs. And I know so many women experience that, and it's really rough. Like, it's really tough. But one thing about me, I'm never going to give up on my business, right? I know that in relation to most people, I would be considered a bad employee, right? I don't want to do things that I don't want to do. And I'm so far removed from that, And I'm okay with being a team player. I'm okay with all these things. But there's just something about me that I can't go so super hard about shit that doesn't involve me. Like, excuse my language, but I'm not going to be able to give something my all that doesn't truly affect me. And I think that's probably a shock to hear out loud, but in reality, a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel that way. And they just continue on, using the companies that they work for to get where they need to go. And there is no shame in that, okay? I'm not shading nobody. I'm just saying, to say that out loud is something that most people just won't do. So for me, I have reached a level of self-awareness where I know that about myself. I have been the hardworking employee, right? It's about 50% for me. I'll get the job done to the best of my ability, and then I will go slack off. I will go hide in the dressing room. I will go hide in the back room. I will go hide in the aisles. I will go find something else to do, honey, okay? And then eventually when I started working in the corporate world where you get your own desk and you get your own little nook to be in, I just found myself so desperate to seek life outside of the workplace, right? Life outside of all of that. I just really yearned for it every day, all day, constantly trying to surf the web, constantly journaling and writing down notes and things all about how I wanted to get the hell out of there. And eventually for me, because I entertained it so much, I really took the necessary steps I needed and left. And my last corporate job was my last corporate job. I've had small jobs in between, mostly seasonal, but that stopped about 5 years ago. So I've done what I needed to do to get where I am. And during those times where, I was working a retail job, seasonally, when my daughter is 9 months old and I'm just trying to make ends meet, I really wondered, will I ever get to where I want to be? And the dream for me was to have more free time, with my daughter, to homeschool, to, be in a position where I could work when I wanted and still be able to sustain life, right? So 2 years ago, my daughter started school. Yep. And we did homeschooling for kindergarten, and it was really hard. In my mind, I thought just because I was an entrepreneur, I would be able to just, homeschool my kid and also work during the day and then have more free time in the evening to do whatever we wanted to do, whether that was more homeschooling or going to the park or this or this or this or that. But in reality, no. And I started to become extremely disillusioned by that. I started to become extremely disillusioned by the idea that I was an entrepreneur and that was supposed to be my savior, right? That was supposed to be the thing to get me out of the rat race, to get me. But in reality, it had enthralled me into the rat race on another level, okay? Especially because I'm solo. I'm doing everything by myself. I'm the accountant. I'm the creative director. I also service the clients. I schedule the appointments. I do this, blah, 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 right? So I had a breakdown, and I turned to my mom, who has been in the corporate world her whole entire career. And I'm just oh my God, I am struggling here. I don't want to do this. I don't feel anymore. I'm fucking tired. I can't go on. And she really picked me up in that moment and made me realize, girl, this is a hard part of what you chose to do and what you've been doing. Because I kept saying, I've been doing this for so long, 10 years, so long. And something she's been trying to hammer into my head for a while is just like that delayed gratification. And I'm better at it now, that I'm on the 10-year mark, but it started to kind of boil up again. Like, what's going on here? I'm supposed to be, on the beach accumulating funds from other nail techs or whatever the hell. And she's like, girl, you have to keep going. You have to sort it out. You have to keep going. Like, you can't just stop here. And I really reached out to her because I think maybe I wanted her to tell me to stop and give up. And that is the reaction I was expecting from her. And I got the total and direct opposite. And that was a sign for me to slowly but surely, she gave me a loan. And I started again. And in my last vlog, I talked about starting over and how if you ever want something, you're going to have to start over so many times. So many times in order to figure out what you're doing wrong, what you can do better, what you can improve on. And, me being a business owner, it's in my blood. But I don't have a lot of like coaching, right? I had some mentors in the beginning to kind of put the seed in my mind. But as far as everything else, I've had to figure it out all on my own. With the help of YouTube, of course, here and there. But it's all been on my own through trial and error. And I feel like at this time in my life, I was really beat down by it, just starting over so many times. But I knew that I had to kind of just set my feelings aside about it and keep going because I have to provide for myself. I have to provide for my daughter. And I have to keep this business going in some way, shape, or form, right? It might slow down, but it's not going to stop. And that's something that I've learned, And during that time, I had so many opportunities to be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not about to keep doing this shit. I'm about to go and get a regular ass job. And I thought about it quite often. But that feeling, right? That feeling that I felt for so long, that drove me mad, that drove me crazy, that drove me into entrepreneurship full time, I could still feel it in my chest. And there was no way that I could go back. So I had to just start making more realistic decisions about what my business would look like and what was actually sustainable for me, and given what I wanted to see my life like and my future like. Because a year before this, I had started DJing. I've been making mixes since I was 16. I started DJing before my daughter was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then I put it down when she was born until 2 years ago. So I really was enjoying myself with DJing. And I'm like, you know what? I want to make money from this because this excites me. This fuels whatever I need right now. And I want to do it more, It became more than just a hobby for me because I was probably DJing once every 2 weeks for my friends, like friend parties and stuff like that. So I would consider that a hobby. I was getting paid, but it wasn't serious. Like, I didn't rely on the money or anything. So in my mind at this point, I'm like, I want to DJ more and I want to do nails less. I want to service nails less. And in the last 3 years of my nail career, I've been wanting to transfer all of my experience and information I had onto online platforms and services to help other nail techs that were in the same position that I had been. And in order to do that, I really needed to start to put that stuff down onto a platform, but it just was so overwhelming for me. Like, What information exactly did I want to share? Did I want to make nail tutorial videos? And now at this point, I know I don't really want to do that. I don't have an interest in tutorials. I have more of an interest in sharing information and stories relating to business and how to overcome those challenges that are really hard. How to retain clients, how to sort your books out, how to do payroll, how do you build your website. Like, those are things that I'm more interested in and I know now, which makes organizing it so much more easy. And also, I'm just in a mental state where I'm not in survival mode. I'm not trying to overcome anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at this point in my life, I didn't know it, but I had just entered a dream that I had been praying for so long, giving up certain things and just letting go of certain things I didn't know I had to let go of. And I had just exited survival mode. I had just left that part of my life and I was walking into everything I had truly, truly wanted and maybe didn't know how to put into words. And in order to gain, you have to let go and you have to make space for the things that you want in your life. And so looking back on these clips, my heart's a little bit heavy because I see like what I was going through was a lot. It was a whole lot, but I was really shedding so much skin, so much all type of shit, letting it go. So I want to end this part of the vlog by saying, don't be afraid to let go, right? Go with whatever feels right, even if it feels scary and or challenging, right? Take things one step at a time in life, in business, in love. Everything doesn't have to make sense, and you don't have to make every decision based on what it is you're looking to do. Just take it moment by moment, be present, and you'll sort things out. Today, it's almost 9:17. I'm gonna get started making some press-ons, and then I'm going to, sorry, I don't know, I should do that. Service 3 clients. So if my location has changed, I'm gonna give them a friendly reminder that the location has changed. Thanks for waiting. So we can all agree that beauty services are a luxury. So in the past couple years, I have come across newer nail techs that ask me a lot of questions about the difference between booth renting and commission on services. So if you don't know my story, my background is in the arts and marketing. And when I was younger, I had a lot of mentors that were in beauty. They had been servicing clients probably at that point 8 to 10 years by then, or more. Probably all of their lives, honestly, in some capacity. So they had a natural knack for beauty, whereas me, I had a natural knack for business, had a natural knack for creation. So they would always say to me, why don't you go do nails? Why don't you do nails? Why don't you do nails? And eventually I did. And with that, I brought with me all the experiences, editing, recording, content for other people. It wasn't until I started doing nails that I was making content for myself. So around that time, I was introduced to the concept of specialized knowledge through the book Think and Grow Rich. Specialized knowledge basically means picking and choosing what you feel you're good at. So if you've been typing but you don't have a typing certification, you can consider your typing skills specialized knowledge. It can be particular or theoretical. Okay? So to some, that may be kind of made up or exaggerated. I started using that information of specialized knowledge and applying it to my life. I started to create my resume around nails, and I also would implement a lot of the things about marketing and branding, and I packed it all in and I made myself look really good. I didn't make this shit up. I really spent a lot of time curating. So I started to use my specialized knowledge to get jobs in nails. My circumstance had changed. I had just had a baby. So I didn't start doing nails officially, servicing clients, until my daughter was probably 2 or 3. In which case I took my first job at a salon, a couple more jobs at salons, and then by the time I had worked my way into a managerial position, managing a couple locations, and I had been told that my employer refused to pay me $20 an hour to be a manager and also give me 50% of my services as a nail tech, I decided to do my own thing. And from there, I went straight to solo studio. I'm making breakfast. I'm a nail tech, so if you know, you know. This is my one chance to eat today, and I'm gonna take it. But like I was saying, so when I finally moved into my studio, I had no car. I had a small child who was probably going to be 2 at the time. I had no car. I had $60 to my name, and the previous employer refused to pay me my last check. Didn't pay me. Owed me $1,000. I had $60. I took that $60. I went and I bought a bunch of nail supplies, and I moved into my studio and I started grinding. Being solo was a pivotal point in my experience as an entrepreneur, as a nail tech, because that was really when I was on my own and I was really forced to find a way to make money for real. So the first thing, if you're not ready to feel the pressure of being solely responsible for everything, do not go out on your own, right? So I learned so much from working in salons. I learned so much. And it just solidified a lot more about me, which is I don't want to have an employer. So going out on my own, I was really ready for that. I had a taste of it here and there throughout my life already, and I was just ready. And I would repost a bunch of nails that I liked and I wanted to do. I would DM people letting them know, hey, I'm in the Short North, I'm doing nails, you should come get your nails done. Every day. 40 people a day. And I would wait to get calls, and really immediately I started getting calls, I started getting clients. Because the market where I am really wasn't as saturated as it is now. There was not so many like solo nail techs back then. So, and I just took clients any day, any time, before 7 p.m. And I did that for 2 years straight. And I just got burnt out, right? But before we go into the burnout story, we're here to conceptualize what is your nail journey, what has your nail journey been, what has your journey been in beauty? And how do you quantify that? Is it valuable? Is it not so valuable? Or is it extremely valuable, right? And for me, when I go to set my prices, when I go and look at everything, I start with my experiences and how long it has taken me to grow and get to this point. I always start there. Not with the products, not with XYZ. And I really go and I envision and I imagine what is my client type, Who do I want to service? What do my clients do? How much money can they spend on a luxury service such as mine? And then I look into the time I have spent just getting here, right? So you're gonna factor in all of those things: the price, your location, your products, taxes, and you're gonna put some stake on it. Let's do a product review on Beetles. Really just an unboxing. Honestly, I love these products. I love Beetles. It is really affordable and they work really well. I mean, it's very simple. I started using them during the pandemic when I launched my press-on line, and I absolutely love Beetles, and it's a brand that I really trust. And now that it's on Amazon, I know it's going to come when I need it. So when I'm using powders, I like to use whatever color I want, right? So if you use a light color, it's going to kind of act as just a powdery top coat. It's going to give it a nice finish. Whereas if you use black or a really dark color, it's going to completely cover the color that's underneath and give the powder its true effect. So what I like to do is use a non-wipe top coat. I use D&D. I know I love D&D, and that's what I use over top of my black, and I cure it completely, and then I go ahead and rub the powders on. I like to use a glove. When I do services, I use gloves, and I just rub it on there, on the nail, and voila, use a nice top coat.